We're incredibly grateful for your support. Before we begin today's tale, tell us, which city or country are you joining us from? We love connecting with our global audience. Now let's dive into today's story. Benjamin Callahan stood before the floor-length mirror in his private office, adjusting his custom-made Italian tie. At 52, he carried himself with the confidence of a man who had built his empire from scratch. The news of winning the $300 million federal courthouse contract still felt fresh, even after 3 weeks. His phone buzzed. Another message from the FBI's background check team. Standard procedure, they said. He'd been through dozens of these checks before, but something about this one felt different. More invasive. More thorough. Mr. Callahan? His assistant's voice crackled through the intercom. Dr. Miranda Reeves from the FBI's Genetic Evidence Review Board is here to see you. She says it's urgent. Ben's jaw tightened. He hadn't expected them to send someone in person. Send her in. The door opened, revealing not just Dr. Reeves but another woman as well. Dr. Reeves was in her early 40s, wearing a conservative Navy suit that screamed federal employee. Her companion, however, carried herself differently. Special Agent Diana Winters had the hardened look of someone who'd spent too many years chasing shadows. Mr. Callahan, Dr. Reeves began, her tone carefully neutral. Thank you for meeting with us on such short notice. This is Special Agent Diana Winters. Ben gestured to the leather chairs across from his desk. Please sit. Though I must admit, I'm curious why my routine background check requires 2 federal agents. Agent Winters remained standing, positioning herself near the window. Her eyes never stopped scanning the room. This isn't about your background check, Mr. Callahan. At least, not directly. Dr. Reeves opened her briefcase, removing a thick file. Mr. Callahan, are you familiar with the first Western bank robbery of 1999? Of course. Everyone in Denver knows about it. $3 million stolen. 2 guards killed. They caught 2 of the robbers, if I remember correctly, and the 3rd was never found, Agent Winters added, her voice carrying 2 decades of frustration. Until now. Ben's phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from his wife, Samantha, meeting Drew for lunch to discuss the new security contracts. Don't wait up tonight. He placed the phone face down on his desk. I'm not sure I understand what this has to do with me or my background check. Dr. Reeves laid out several documents. As part of the new federal contractor screening process, we collect DNA samples from both the primary applicant and their immediate family members. It's meant to identify potential security risks, foreign agents, criminal connections, that sort of thing. Yes, my wife and I both submitted our samples last week. Standard procedure, you said. What we didn't tell you, Agent Winters cut in, is that these samples are also cross-referenced with cold cases. It's a new initiative barely 6 months old. Ben felt his stomach tighten. And you found something? Dr. Reeves pushed a paper across the desk. We found a match, Mr. Callahan. Your wife's DNA matches evidence recovered from the first Western crime scene. The match is conclusive. The world didn't stop. Ben didn't gasp or cry out. Instead, he picked up the paper and read it carefully, his face revealing nothing. Have you arrested her? The 2 women exchanged glances. Agent Winters spoke first. Not yet. We needed to handle this carefully. Your wife's DNA isn't just connected to the robbery. It's connected to the murders. The 2 guards were executed at close range. I see. Ben's voice remained steady. And you're telling me this because? Because we need your help, Dr. Reeves explained. Your wife doesn't know we've made the connection. If we move too quickly, we could lose our chance to uncover the full extent of her involvement. There might be others. Ben thought about the text message on his phone, about his brother Drew, about 20 years of lies sleeping beside him every night. Others? Like who? That's what we need to find out, Agent Winters said. We're setting up surveillance, but we need you to act normal. Can you do that, Mr. Callahan? Ben allowed himself a small smile. Agent Winters, I've built $1 billion company by keeping my emotions in check. I think I can manage to have dinner with my wife. As if on cue, his phone buzzed again. Another text from Samantha. Drew says hi. See you tonight, darling. Across town, in the luxurious penthouse suite of the Brown Palace Hotel, Samantha Callahan was indeed with Drew, but they weren't discussing security contracts. Raymond Torres, watching through his long-range camera from the building opposite, captured every intimate moment of their goodbye. Same time next week? Drew asked, buttoning his shirt. Samantha finished applying her lipstick in the mirror. If we can, things might get complicated soon. The feds are sniffing around Ben's background check. They won't find anything, Drew assured her, wrapping his arms around her waist. I made sure of that 20 years ago, remembers? You were a rookie cop who managed to direct the investigation away from us, Samantha reminded him. But things are different now. These genetic screening programs are still new, Drew finished. And I have friends in the right places. Stop worrying. Raymond Torres zoomed in on their reflection in the mirror, capturing the worry that flashed across Samantha's face. In his earpiece, Agent Winter's voice crackled. Got everything? Every compromising moment, Torres confirmed. Though I'm not sure your brother-in-law will want to see these, Agent Winters. Ben Callahan isn't like other men, Winters replied. I want to see everything. Every betrayal, every lie. He's not the type to look away. Back in his office, Ben was already proving her right. He sat alone now, studying the DNA report with cold precision. 20 years of memories played through his mind, recontextualized by this new information. The late-night meetings, the unexplained absences, the way she'd insisted on sending the twins to private school in Switzerland. His intercom buzzed again. Mr. Callahan? Thomas Chun is here to see you. Send him in. Chun entered cautiously, clutching a manila envelope. The private investigator had been hired by Ben's rivals to dig up dirt, but he'd found something far more explosive than corporate espionage. Mr. Callahan, Chun began, I think you should see these. Ben held up his hand. Let me guess. Photos of my wife and brother at the Brown Palace. Chin's surprise was evident. How did you know? Ben opened his desk drawer and pulled out his own file, much thicker than Chin's envelope. Because I hired someone better than you 6 months ago. Former CIA operative named Lisa Montgomery. She's very thorough. Then you know about the affair? I know everything, Mr. Chun. The affair. The information leaks to my competitors. The mysterious deposits into offshore accounts. What I don't know is why you're showing me this instead of your clients. Chun shifted uncomfortably. Because what I found goes beyond corporate espionage, Mr. Callahan. Way beyond. And I'm not comfortable being part of a cover-up. Admirable, Ben said, his voice carrying no warmth. What's your price? Excuse me? Everyone has a price, Mr. Chun. Name yours. In exchange, you'll turn over everything you've found to me and forget this conversation ever happened. Chun named a figure. Ben doubled it without blinking. Have the files on my desk by morning. All of them. If I find out you've kept anything back. He let the threat hang unfinished. After Chun left, Ben picked up his phone and dialed. Lisa, it's time. Execute the contingency plan we discussed. And Lisa, make sure you get everything. Every detail, every connection, every betrayal. I want it all. Understood, Lisa Montgomery replied. And your brother? Ben's voice turned to ice. Especially my brother. No one betrays family without consequences. The sun was setting over Denver as Ben gathered his things to leave. His phone buzzed one final time, a message from Agent Winters, surveillance in place. Remember, act normal? Ben smiled as he typed his response. Don't worry, Agent Winters. I'm very good at acting normal. It's how I built my empire. As he drove home, Ben thought about the courthouse he was designing. $300 million to build a monument to justice. How fitting that it would now serve as the stage for his own brand of justice. Samantha would be home soon, smelling of his brother's cologne, carrying 2 decades of lies in her designer handbag. Ben felt no anger, no hurt, no betrayal. Those emotions were for weaker men. Instead, he felt something much more dangerous. Purpose. The pieces were in motion now. The FBI, Lisa Montgomery, Thomas Chun, all playing their parts in a symphony of revelation and retribution. Ben had built his fortune by seeing patterns others missed, by planning 10 moves ahead while others played checkers. Now he would use those same skills to dismantle the conspiracy that had lived under his roof for 20 years. But first, he had to have dinner with his wife and pretend he didn't know she was a murderer. Ben smiled at the thought. He'd always enjoyed a challenge. Thomas Chin sat in his car outside Ben Callahan's office building, hands shaking as he counted the money again. Double his asking price, all in untraceable bearer bonds. The kind of payment that came with unspoken expectations and implied threats. His phone rang, the rival architectural firm that had hired him. Chun, tell me you found something we can use against Callahan. Nothing useful, Chun lied, thinking of the bearer bonds. His background is clean. You should look elsewhere. The line went dead. Chun looked at the thick file on his passenger seat, the one he'd be delivering to Callahan tomorrow. Inside was evidence of something far darker than corporate espionage. But Chun was a practical man. He knew when he was outmatched. Across town, Lisa Montgomery was already 3 steps ahead. The former CIA operative had turned Ben's corporate security office into a command center. Screens displayed surveillance feeds, financial records, phone logs, 20 years of data being analyzed by state-of-the-art software. Got something? Her assistant called out. Drew Callahan's PI firm has been accessing sealed court records, all related to the First Western case. Lisa studied the pattern, cross-reference with any deaths or disappearances among potential witnesses. The computer hummed. Results populated the screen. Lisa's eyes narrowed. Well, brother Drew, you've been quite busy. Her phone buzzed. A text from Ben. Status? Connections emerging, she replied. Your brother's been systematic. Very thorough in covering tracks. Not thorough enough, came the response. Find everything. In the FBI's Denver field office, Special Agent Diana Winters sat surrounded by 20 years of case files. The First Western Bank robbery had been her first major case as a young agent. Now it might be her last. Retirement loomed. But she'd promised herself she wouldn't leave until this case was closed. Agent Winters? Dr. Miranda Reeves appeared in her doorway. The full DNA analysis is back. Winters took the report, scanning it quickly. Match percentage? 99.9, Reeves confirmed. It's definitely Samantha Callahan on those shell casings. And there's more. We found partial matches to other cold cases. All bank robberies. All with the same MO. How many? 5. Spanning 15 years. The latest was just 3 years ago. Winters leaned back, processing the implications. They never stopped. They just got better at covering their tracks. There's something else, Reeves added. The genetic markers show a familiar connection to one of the convicted robbers, James Morrison. Jackknife Morrison? Winters sat up straighter. The one who died in prison last month? The same. And guess who signed his death certificate? The prison doctor was on Drew Callahan's payroll. Winters grabbed her phone, dialing rapidly. This is Agent Winters. I need everything we have on James Morrison's prison contacts. Focus on visits from law enforcement, especially Drew Callahan. While the FBI dug deeper, Ben Callahan prepared for his own investigation. He sat in his home office, reviewing Lisa Montgomery's preliminary findings. The pattern was clear. Every major step in Drew's career had been preceded by a suspicious death or disappearance. His phone buzzed. A text from Samantha. Working late. Don't wait up. Ben checked the surveillance feed on his tablet. His wife was indeed working her way through a bottle of wine with Drew at their usual hotel. The camera feed showed them huddled over documents, their intimacy speaking of decades of shared secrets. Sir? Lisa's voice came through a secure line. We've identified the offshore accounts. The money trail leads back to the original First Western robbery. And Drew's involvement? He was first on scene that day. Body cam footage shows him directing officers away from the service entrance. We've enhanced the video. A figure matching Samantha's description exited through that door 4 minutes later. Ben's jaw tightened. The murders? 2 guards. Both executed with professional precision. Military training, according to the ballistics report. Like the training my brother received before joining the police force, Ben noted coldly. Exactly. There's more. Drew's PI firm has handled security for 3 other bank robberies with similar MOS. All successful. No arrests. Keep digging. I want everything. Sir. Lisa hesitated. There's something else. About the twins. Ben's hand tightened on the phone. What about them? Their school's genetics class did a family tree project. The results, they're not your biological children. The silence that followed was absolute. When Ben finally spoke, his voice carried the chill of a mountain winter. How long have you known? The results came in this morning. Their science teacher, Dr. Sullivan, contacted the FBI directly. Does Samantha know we know? Not yet. But, sir, there's a genetic match to James Morrison. Ben absorbed this final betrayal with terrifying calm. Morrison, the convicted robber who conveniently died in prison just as this genetic screening program launched? Yes, sir. And Drew signed off on the death certificate. Of course he did. Ben stood moving to his wall safe. Inside was a file he'd kept for 20 years. Insurance, he'd told himself. Lisa, implement Protocol 0. Sir? That's the nuclear option. They killed for money, Ben said, his voice devoid of emotion. They killed to cover their tracks. They built their entire lives on betrayal and murder. Now they'll learn the true cost. Understood. What about the FBI? Let Agent Winters play her part. But remember, this ends on my terms. As Ben hung up, his home security system alerted him to Samantha's return. He could hear her in the kitchen, humming as she poured herself another glass of wine. Acting normal just like him. He thought about the twins, away at their Swiss boarding school. About young Eric, asleep upstairs, blissfully unaware that his father had just discovered the true depths of his family's betrayal. Tomorrow, he would begin dismantling the conspiracy that had lived in his house for 20 years. But tonight, he would have dinner with his wife and pretend he didn't know that his entire life had been built on lies. Ben straightened his tie and headed downstairs. He was very good at pretending. It was time to put on the performance of his life. Dr. Rachel Sullivan stared at the genetic test results on her screen, her hands hovering uncertainly over her keyboard. The Advanced Genetics class's Family Tree project had been designed to teach students about heredity and DNA analysis. Instead, it had uncovered a truth that threatened to tear apart one of Denver's most prominent families. The twins, Amy and Adam Callahan, sat across from her desk, their faces pale with shock. At 17, they were top students, already planning their college applications. Now their entire world had shifted on its axis. This can't be right, Amy insisted, her voice trembling. Run it again? We've run it 3 times, Dr. Sullivan said gently. The markers are conclusive. Mr. Callahan, is it your biological father? Adam, always the more analytical of the twins, studied the results with scientific detachment. These markers, they suggest a familial connection to someone else in the criminal database. I've already contacted the FBI, Dr. Sullivan admitted. It's protocol when we discover evidence related to criminal investigations. You had no right, Amy snapped, tears threatening to spill. She had every obligation, Adam corrected, his voice cold. This isn't just about us anymore, Amy. This is about Mom, and whatever she's been hiding for the past 17 years. Down the hall, in the school counselor's office, 12-year-old Eric Callahan sat hunched over a drawing pad. Michael Brooks watched the boy's aggressive strokes with growing concern. The artwork had changed dramatically over the past few weeks. Tell me about this one, Eric, Brooks said, pointing to a particularly disturbing image. The drawing showed a family dinner scene, but each figure had been transformed into predatory animals wearing human clothes. It's nothing, Eric muttered, but his hand tightened on his pencil. Just something I saw in Dad's office. Your father's office? Brooks leaned forward. What did you see there? Eric's pencil snapped in his grip. Documents. Pictures. Things I wasn't supposed to see when I was getting his signature for the field trip form. What kind of pictures? Mom, with Uncle Drew? Eric's voice dropped to a whisper. They were at some bank. The pictures were old, but I recognized them. And there were maps, blueprints. Uncle Drew had them in his office, too. When I visited last weekend, Brooks made a careful note. This wasn't the first time Eric had mentioned finding disturbing materials. How does that make you feel? Like everything's fake, Eric spat. Like everyone's wearing masks, pretending to be something they're not. In Ben's corporate office, Lisa Montgomery presented her latest findings. The boy's been drawing compulsively, mostly scenes involving duplicity and hidden identities. The school counselor thinks he's processing subconscious trauma. He's seen something, Ben concluded, studying copies of Eric's artwork. Drew's gotten careless, keeping evidence where a child could find it. Should we pull him out of school? No. Ben's decision was immediate. Let him continue his sessions with Brooks. The counselor's notes might prove useful later. His phone buzzed, a text from Amy. Dad, we need to talk. Something's happened at school. Before he could respond, another message appeared, this one from Adam. Don't tell Mom, but we know. About everything. Ben's jaw clenched. The genetic tests, he should have anticipated this complication. Lisa, give me everything on James Morrison's known associates from the First Western case. Focus on any connections to Samantha before the robbery. Already done, sir. Lisa handed him another file. Morrison visited Drew's office monthly for years, always under the pretext of consulting on other cases. The visit stopped abruptly last month. When he died in prison, Ben finished. Convenient timing, just as the genetic screening program threatened to expose everything. His desk phone lit up, the twin science teacher. Mr. Callahan? This is Dr. Sullivan. I think you should know. There's been a development with Amy and Adam's genetic profiles. I know, Ben replied, his voice carefully controlled. They've already reached out. Tell me everything, Dr. Sullivan. Leave nothing out. As she explained the test results, Ben's expression remained unchanged. Only his whitening knuckles betrayed his inner turmoil. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. I trust you followed all proper protocols? Yes, sir. The FBI has been notified. Good. That will be all. After hanging up, Ben sat in silence for a long moment. Then he pressed his intercom. Cancel my afternoon appointments. And get me Agent Winters on a secure line. While he waited for the call to connect, Ben reviewed Eric's drawings again. His youngest son had unknowingly documented evidence of a 20-year-old crime, proof that some part of him had always known the truth about his family. The twins would demand answers soon. Eric's artwork suggested growing awareness of the deception surrounding him. And somewhere in the city, Drew and Samantha continued their decades-long affair, unaware that their carefully constructed web of lies was unraveling strand by strand. Ben allowed himself a small, cold smile. Everything was falling into place. The truth about First Western Bank, about the twins' paternity, about Eric's disturbing discoveries, all of it would serve his purpose. Each revelation was another weapon in his arsenal, another piece in the elaborate trap he was constructing. His phone buzzed one final time. Samantha again. Coming home early tonight. Family dinner? Ben's response was immediate and pleasant. Of course, darling. I'll be there. He turned to Lisa Montgomery, his expression hardening. Have surveillance teams in place. Tonight we start dismantling their world. Act I ended as it had begun, with secrets and lies. But now the truth was emerging, carried forward by DNA evidence, children's drawings, and the relentless determination of a man who discovered that his entire life had been built on betrayal. The stage was set. The players were in position. And Benjamin Callahan, architect of buildings and now of revenge, prepared to show his wife and brother exactly what happened to those who dared to betray him. Lisa Montgomery's office hummed with the quiet efficiency of multiple computer servers. 3 weeks had passed since the DNA match revelation, and she hadn't slept more than 4 hours a night since. The former CIA operative's dedication to uncovering every detail of the First Western Bank case bordered on obsession. Her phone lit up, Ben Callahan's private line. Talk to me? Sir, you need to see this. Lisa pulled up the enhanced security footage on her main screen. Drew's dashcam from the day of the robbery. Watch the timestamp. The grainy video showed Drew's patrol car arriving at First Western Bank 3 minutes before the first 911 call. He knew, Lisa continued. He was already there, directing traffic away from the service entrance before anyone reported the robbery. Show me the service entrance footage. Lisa switched feeds. The black and white video showed a figure slipping out, face hidden but moving with familiar grace. Samantha, Ben said, his voice carrying no emotion. Enhance the bottom right corner. The image sharpened, revealing a distinctive detail, a custom-made Italian leather shoe, barely visible in the frame. Drew's shoes, Ben noted. He was inside during the robbery. There's more. Lisa pulled up prison visitation logs. Drew maintained regular contact with James Morrison, one of the convicted robbers. Monthly meetings under the guise of consulting on other cases. Ben's eyes narrowed. Morrison. The one who died conveniently just as the genetic screening program launched? Exactly. And here's where it gets interesting. Lisa displayed a series of financial records. Every month after these meetings, large deposits appeared in offshore accounts linked to Drew's PI firm. The amounts increased over time. Blackmail payments been concluded. Morrison knew something worth paying to keep quiet. A notification flashed on Lisa's screen. Movement at the prison. Sir, surveillance picked up Thomas Chun visiting Morrison's old cellmate. Put it on screen. The live feed showed Chun in the prison visiting area, speaking with a weathered man in his 60s. That's Miguel Ramirez, Lisa explained. Morrison's cellmate for the last 5 years. Ben watched the interaction with cold intensity. Chun's working both angles. Playing his own game. Should we intervene? No. Let him dig. He might uncover something useful. Ben's phone buzzed, a message from Agent Winters. The FBI's bringing in Gloria Kane. Lisa pulled up Kane's file. Retired detective. She worked the original case, suspected an inside job, but couldn't prove it. Kane kept unauthorized evidence copies, Ben revealed, including a partial voice recording from the bank's security system. Lisa's fingers flew across her keyboard. Accessing the FBI's analysis now. Voice recognition software gives an 85% match to Samantha. Promising, but not conclusive enough for court. Ben studied the waveform patterns. We need more. Sir? Lisa hesitated. There's something else. About Morrison's death certificate. Show me. The document appeared on screen. Drew signed off on it personally. His PI firm handled the investigation. Ruled it natural causes. Natural causes? Ben's laugh held no humor. How many other deaths has my brother investigated over the past 20 years? Lisa pulled up a new database. 4 suspicious deaths, all potential witnesses to First Western. Each one investigated by Drew's firm. Each ruled accidental or natural causes. Ben absorbed this information with terrifying calm. They've been systematically eliminating loose ends for 2 decades. Sir? Lisa brought up another alert. Chin's leaving the prison now. He's making a call. The surveillance system captured Chin's voice clearly. Mr. Morrison had a partner inside the bank. Someone who helped coordinate everything. And his cellmate knows who it was. Ben's expression remained unchanged. Forward everything to Agent Winters. But Lisa, he paused. Maintains separate copies. The FBI doesn't need to know everything we discover. Understood, sir. As Ben ended the call, Lisa turned to her most secure terminal. The algorithm she designed was finally finishing its analysis of 20 years of financial records, phone logs, and surveillance data. The pattern it revealed was devastating in its clarity. Drew hadn't just been first on scene by chance. He'd orchestrated the entire operation, using his position as a rookie cop to direct the investigation away from himself and Samantha. The 2 caught robbers had been convenient scapegoats, while the Real architects walked free. Lisa's phone buzzed, a message from her contact at the prison. Morrison didn't die of natural causes. Toxicology report shows traces of a sophisticated poison. Almost undetectable. She immediately called Ben. Sir, Morrison was murdered. Professional job. Meant to look natural. Right before the genetic screening program would have exposed everything, Ben noted. They're getting sloppy. Desperate. What's our next move? Ben's voice carried the finality of an executioner's axe. Let Agent Winters focus on the bank robbery. We'll focus on the murders. Every death, every cover-up, every lie they've told for the past 20 years, document it all. And Chun, keep watching him. The moment he discovers something useful, we move. Ben paused. And Lisa, make sure our evidence is ironclad. When we take them down, I want no possibility of escape. As Lisa returned to her investigation, the pieces began falling into place. Drew's rise from failing rookie to successful PI, the string of conveniently timed deaths, the offshore accounts swelling with blood money. It all painted a picture of methodical evil spanning decades. Ben had built his empire on precision and control. Now he would use those same qualities to dismantle his brother's criminal enterprise piece by piece. The game was changing, the hunters becoming the hunted, and Benjamin Callahan was proving to be a far more dangerous adversary than his wife and brother had ever imagined. The news of Eleanor Bishop's death hit the architectural community like a thunderbolt. The star architect from Ben's rival firm was found in her home office, an apparent suicide note detailing her role in an industrial espionage scheme targeting Callahan architects. Ben studied the police report in his office, noting the familiar pattern. "Another convenient death," he remarked to Lisa Montgomery. "Show me the other three." Lisa displayed the files on his secure terminal. All potential witnesses to First Western, each investigated by Drew's firm, each ruled accidental or suicide. Marcus Rodriguez, bank janitor, car accident, 2006. Sarah Chun, no relation to Thomas. Home invasion, 2012. David Park, security consultant, drowning, 2018. Ben's voice carried cold precision as he listed the deaths. And now, Eleanor Bishop. Each death eliminated someone who could connect Drew or Samantha to First Western, Lisa confirmed. Rodriguez worked late the night before the robbery. Chun handled the bank's security upgrades. Park audited the system afterward. And Bishop? She was working late the night of the robbery. Her office overlooked the service entrance. Lisa pulled up building schematics. Perfect view of their escape route. Ben's phone buzzed. Agent Winters. "Bishop's death matches the pattern," she said without preamble. "Same investigator, same conclusion. Suicide with convenient evidence implicating others. They're trying to frame me," Ben stated flatly. "Using Bishop's death to discredit the courthouse project. Not just the project." Winter's voice carried grim certainty. "They're setting you up to take the fall for everything. First Western, the murders, all of it." "Sir?" Lisa interrupted, her expression tense. "The twins just accessed their trust fund. Large withdrawal." Ben checked the amount and allowed himself a small, cold smile. "They've hired someone." "Who?" Lisa's fingers flew across her keyboard. "Samuel Wade. Retired detective, former partner to their Uncle James." "Wade?" Ben remembered the name. He worked with Drew before the First Western case. Until Drew's sudden promotion, Lisa confirmed. Wade was passed over, transferred to cold cases. He's been investigating Drew unofficially for years. Ben's phone buzzed again. A text from Amy. "Dad, we need to talk. We know about Uncle Drew's connection to First Western." Before he could respond, Adam's message appeared. "Wade found something. Meeting him tonight. Don't tell Mom." "Sir." Lisa called up new surveillance footage. "Wade's at the county records office. He's pulling files on Drew's early cases." Ben watched the retired detective work, noting his methodical approach. "What's he found?" Drew was failing as a cop before First Western. Multiple disciplinary actions, on the verge of being fired. Then the robbery happened. He made detective, and everything changed. Payoff for his role in the heist, Ben concluded. "And Wade suspected." Lisa nodded. "Wade's been collecting evidence for years. Bank records showing Drew's sudden wealth. Witness statements that were buried. Pattern of suspicious deaths in cases he investigated." Ben's intercom buzzed, his secretary announcing Thomas Chin's arrival. "Send him in." Chin entered, clutching a thick file. "Mr. Callahan, about Eleanor Bishop's death." "Save it." Ben cut him off. "Show me what you really found." Chin hesitated, then placed the file on Ben's desk. "Your brother's been eliminating witnesses for 20 years. Bishop was just the latest. And you have proof? Patterns in the investigations. Same conclusions, same oversights, same convenient evidence appearing at the right moment." Chin swallowed hard. "But there's more. About Morrison's death in prison." Ben leaned forward slightly. "Go on." "The prison doctor who signed his death certificate? He didn't just work for Drew. He handled medical examinations for all 4 accidental deaths over the years." "Names," Ben demanded. "Documents. Everything you have." Chun produced a USB drive. "It's all here, including evidence that Drew and Samantha are planning something big. They're accelerating their timeline." "Why now?" "The genetic screening program threatened to expose everything. Morrison's death was just the start. They're eliminating loose ends, creating false evidence, building a frame that points to you." Ben's phone buzzed. Another message from the twins. "Wade says Uncle Drew's PI firm investigated for suspicious deaths. all connected to First Western. Sir, Lisa interrupted. Surveillance picked up Drew meeting with Bishop's assistant. Money changed hands. Ben watched the footage with cold intensity. They're buying testimony, building their narrative. What's our move? Lisa asked. Ben stood, his decision made. Contact Agent Winters. Give her everything on the Bishop connection. But Lisa, he paused. Keep the rest in reserve. When Drew and Samantha make their move, we'll be ready. As Chun left, Ben reviewed Wade's preliminary findings. The retired detective had assembled an impressive case. Drew's suspicious rise from failing cop to successful PI, the pattern of deaths surrounding First Western witnesses, the financial trail suggesting decades of payoffs. His phone buzzed one final time. Samantha, heard about Eleanor Bishop. Tragic news. Need to discuss the courthouse project tonight. Ben's response was measured, of course. Dinner at 8? He turned to Lisa. Have surveillance teams in place. Tonight, we learn exactly what they're planning. The pieces were moving faster now, the frame taking shape. But Benjamin Callahan had spent decades building his empire through careful calculation and ruthless efficiency. Now he would use those same skills to dismantle the conspiracy threatening to destroy him. The game was no longer about justice. It was about survival. And Ben intended to show his wife and brother exactly what happened to those who dared to underestimate him. Michael Brooks stared at the drawings spread across his desk, each one more disturbing than the last. Eric Callahan's latest artwork didn't just show family members as predatory animals. It included detailed floor plans, security layouts, precise measurements of a building the 12-year-old should never have seen. Eric, where did you find these? Brooks asked carefully. Uncle Drew's office. Eric's voice carried a mix of fear and defiance. In a box marked First Western Evidence. I wasn't supposed to look, but you did. Brooks made detailed notes. And these drawings, you copied them exactly? Yeah, I'm good at remembering details. Eric's hands trembled slightly. There were other things too. Pictures of Mom from a long time ago. She was wearing a bank uniform, but Dad says she never worked at a bank. Brooks picked up a secure phone, a direct line to Ben Callahan. Mr. Callahan, we need to talk about Eric's latest drawings. Across town, in the prestigious Brisbane Academy's science lab, Amy and Adam Callahan confronted their mother. The twins had chosen the location carefully, neutral ground with security cameras. Did you really think we wouldn't find out? Amy's voice shook with barely controlled rage. The DNA tests don't lie, Mom. Samantha maintained her composure, years of deception serving her well. Your father and I agreed long ago that biology doesn't define family. He chose to raise you as his own. Liar. Adam's tone carried his father's cold precision. We've seen the evidence. The doctor birth certificates. The altered medical records. Lisa Montgomery showed us everything, Amy added. Every fake document, every change date, every forged signature. Samantha's mask slipped for just a moment, revealing something dangerous beneath. Lisa Montgomery doesn't know what she's dealing with. But we do, Adam countered. We know about James Morrison, about First Western, about all of it. The twins watched their mother's face, noting every micro-expression. Years of deception crumbled under the weight of undeniable evidence. You don't understand, Samantha began. We understand perfectly. Amy's voice carried absolute certainty. You and Uncle Drew thought you could hide everything forever. But DNA doesn't lie, Mom. And neither do bank security cameras. Meanwhile, in the chambers of retired Judge Robert Callahan, a different family confrontation unfolded. Ben sat across from his parents, studying the evidence they kept hidden for 2 decades. We suspected Drew's corruption early on, Robert explained, his judicial demeanor intact despite the personal nature of the revelation. The sudden wealth, the convenient promotions, the pattern of deaths surrounding his cases. Marion Callahan, former prosecutor, spread additional files across the desk. We kept records of everything. Bank statements showing suspicious deposits. Witness statements that disappeared from official files. Evidence that never made it to court. Why didn't you come forward? Ben's question carried no accusation, only tactical assessment. We needed proof that would stand up in court, Marion replied. And we needed to protect you. Drew's connections run deep in law enforcement. One wrong move could have destroyed everything I built, Ben finished. So you waited, gathered evidence, prepared for this moment. We didn't know about Samantha's involvement, Robert admitted. Not until the DNA results came back. But we knew Drew was dirty. Knew he was capable of anything to protect his secrets. Ben's phone buzzed. A message from Lisa Montgomery. Sir, surveillance caught Drew accessing sealed records from Judge Matthews' chambers. He's building the frame. Show me, Ben commanded. Lisa sent the footage. Drew smoothly bribing a clerk, obtaining files that could be altered to implicate Ben in decades of corruption. The method was practiced, suggesting a long history of similar operations. Your brother's desperate, Robert observed. The genetic screening program threatened everything he built. Now he's accelerating his plans, getting sloppy. Not sloppy, Ben corrected. Confident. He thinks he has everything in place to destroy me. Marion's prosecutor's instincts surfaced. He's creating a narrative. Using Eleanor Bishop's death, the courthouse project, the old First Western evidence, all to paint you as the mastermind, while positioning himself as the honest cop who discovered the truth, Ben noted with cold amusement. 20 years of preparing his contingency plan. His phone buzzed again. Michael Brooks requesting an urgent meeting about Eric's drawings. Then another message from Amy. Mom just threatened Lisa Montgomery. We recorded everything. Sir, Lisa's voice carried urgency. Drew's accessing more sealed files. Court records, police reports, financial documents. Anything connected to you or First Western. Ben absorbed this information with tactical precision. The pieces were moving faster now, the endgame approaching. His wife and brother thought they held all the cards, thought their decades of preparation guaranteed victory. They don't realize, he told his parents, that every move they make, every file they access, every threat they utter, it all adds to our case. Robert nodded grimly. The hunter becomes the hunted. Exactly. Ben stood, decision made. Time to show them exactly what happens when you betray family. Marion gathered the evidence files with a prosecutor's precision. We'll have everything ready. 20 years of documentation, all legally obtained, all admissible in court. And Drew won't see it coming, Robert added. He thinks we distanced ourselves to avoid his corruption. He never realized we were building a case. Ben's phone buzzed again. Eric's counselor had sent photos of the latest drawings. The 12-year-old had unknowingly documented crucial evidence, security layouts, escape routes, meeting locations, all found in Drew's office during weekend visits. Sir, Lisa's voice carried fresh urgency through the secure line. Surveillance just picked up Samantha leaving the school. She's heading to Drew's office. Track her, Ben commanded. I want to know every word they say. The surveillance feed crackled with Samantha's voice. The twins know everything. They have proof about Morrison, about the birth certificates, about First Western. Calm down. Drew's response was measured. Everything's in place. By the time they figure out what's really happening, it'll be too late. They already have figured it out, Samantha hissed. Lisa Montgomery showed them evidence. Real evidence, Drew. Our entire plan is falling apart. Nothing is falling apart, Drew insisted. We've spent 20 years preparing for this. Ben's going to take the fall for everything, the robbery, the murders, all of it. The DNA evidence just moves up our timeline. Ben listened with cold satisfaction. Every word they spoke, every panicked reaction, revealed more of their plan. His phone buzzed with another message from Amy. Mom just left Uncle Drew's office. She's scared, making mistakes. Should we move now? Lisa asked. Not yet. Ben's voice carried absolute certainty. Let them think they're still in control. Let them implement their plan. He turned to his parents, his expression hardened by decades of ruthless business decisions. You've given me everything I need. Now watch how I use it. Robert and Marion exchanged glances, recognizing in their son the same relentless determination that had made them successful in law and justice. They had spent 20 years gathering evidence, waiting for this moment. Now they would watch as Ben dismantled the conspiracy that had lived in their family for 2 decades. Sir, Lisa's voice interrupted. The twins are requesting a secure meeting. They have something you need to see. Ben checked his watch. The pieces were falling into place faster now, the carefully constructed lies of 20 years crumbling under the weight of truth. His wife and brother thought they held all the cards, thought their decades of preparation had made them invincible. They were about to learn how wrong they were. "Tell the twins I'm on my way," Ben replied. "And Lisa? Have everything ready. Tonight, we show them exactly what happens when they try to destroy what I've built." The sun set over Denver as Ben left his parents' chambers. In his office, Lisa Montgomery continued gathering evidence. In his counselor's office, Eric drew more damning pictures. In their school lab, the twins prepared to reveal what they'd discovered. And across town, Drew and Samantha plotted, unaware that their every move was being documented, their every word recorded, their every action adding to the case against them. The endgame was approaching, but not the one they had planned. Benjamin Callahan had built his empire through strategic brilliance and ruthless efficiency. Now he would use those same qualities to destroy the conspiracy that threatened everything he had created. The frame they had spent decades constructing was about to become their prison. And Ben would show no mercy to those who had betrayed him, even if they carried his name. Ben Callahan sat in his office, studying the modified courthouse designs on his screen. The flaws he'd embedded were subtle, small discrepancies in load-bearing calculations, minor inefficiencies in the ventilation system, slight irregularities in the security layout. Nothing that would compromise the actual building, but distinctive enough to trace if copied. "They took the bait," Lisa Montgomery announced, entering with a tablet. Drew's firm just submitted consulting reports to 3 competing firms. "Each one highlights the exact issues we planted. Show me the transmission data," Ben commanded. Lisa displayed network logs showing the document flow, all routed through Drew's private servers. He thought he was being clever, using multiple cutouts, but we tracked every step. "Agent Winters is going to love this," Ben remarked, his voice carrying no trace of satisfaction, only cold certainty. "What else?" Surveillance picked up increased activity at a storage facility in Commerce City. Unit registered to one of Drew's aliases. Lisa pulled up satellite imagery. "He's visited 3 times this week, always between 2 and 4 a.m. Ben studied the facility's layout. "Show me thermal imaging from his last visit." The infrared scan revealed 2 distinct heat signatures. Samantha was with him, Lisa confirmed. They spent 47 minutes inside. "What are they moving?" "Based on their movement patterns and container sizes, documents." "Lots of them." Lisa switched to a different feed. "We also caught this." The enhanced image showed Samantha placing something in a wall safe. A thick manila envelope marked contingency. Ben's phone buzzed. "Agent Winters." "We've got them," she said without preamble. "Search warrant just came through for the storage unit. Strike teams ready." "Hold," Ben ordered. "Let them finish moving everything first. I want all the evidence in one place." "Time isn't on our side," Winters protested. "The genetic screening program has them spooked. They're accelerating their timeline." "Exactly as planned." Ben pulled up another document, the complete analysis of Drew's financial movements over the past month. They're liquidating assets, converting everything to untraceable cryptocurrencies, setting up their escape. "Sir," Lisa interrupted, "Drew just accessed the courthouse project files again. He's downloading the latest revisions." Ben allowed himself a small, cold smile. "Right on schedule. Agent Winters, coordinate with Lisa. I want every move documented, every file transfer tracked, every phone call recorded." "What about Samantha?" Winters asked. "She's getting erratic. Might try something desperate." "She already is." Ben displayed a series of transaction records. Private charter company, offshore accounts, new identities being prepared. They're planning to run, but not before they complete their frame. Lisa's tablet chimed with an alert. "Sir, the twins investigator just submitted his findings to the FBI. Wade's connected Drew to all 4 witness deaths. And the originals? Secured in our private server, along with backup copies in 3 separate locations." Lisa's efficiency matched her CIA training. "Everything's ready for when they make their move." Ben's intercom buzzed, his secretary announcing Thomas Chin's arrival. "Update," Ben demanded as Chun entered. Morrison's cellmate talked, Chin reported. Gave up everything about Drew's involvement in First Western. Written statement, recorded confession, all properly witnessed and notarized. Location, safe deposit box at First Maritime. Only accessible with dual authorization. Mine and Wade's. Ben nodded approvingly. Agent Winters has the search warrant ready. The moment Drew accesses that storage unit. Sir, Lisa cut in urgently. They're moving. Drew just called 3 courier services. They're clearing out the storage unit tonight. Ben's response was immediate. Execute Protocol 7. I want every document, every piece of evidence, every scrap of paper in that unit photographed and cataloged before they touch it. Already done, Lisa confirmed. Micro cameras installed last week captured everything, including this. The footage showed Drew and Samantha reviewing old blueprints, the original First Western plans, complete with handwritten notes detailing escape routes and security positions. Time to spring the trap, Ben declared. Agent Winters, move your teams into position. Lisa, activate all surveillance protocols. Chun, get that cellmate statement to the federal prosecutor. As his team mobilized, Ben reviewed the evidence one final time. 20 years of deception, murder, and betrayal, all documented, all verified, all about to be exposed. His wife and brother thought they were framing him. Instead, they'd walked right into his trap. His phone buzzed, a message from Samantha, working late again. Don't wait up. Ben's reply was coldly professional, of course. Be safe. He turned to Lisa. Status? FBI teams in position. Surveillance active on all approaches to the storage facility. Drew's just left his office, heading there now. And Samantha? Still at the private airfield, finalizing charter arrangements. She thinks we don't know about her backup plan. Ben's expression remained unchanged as he watched the pieces fall into place. He'd built his empire through strategic brilliance and ruthless efficiency. Now he would use those same qualities to destroy the conspiracy that had threatened everything he'd created. Sir, Lisa reported, Drew's arrived at the storage unit. He's alone. Good. Ben stood, straightening his tie with meticulous precision. Let's show my brother exactly what happens when you betray family. The trap was set, the players in position, the evidence secured. Benjamin Callahan had spent months preparing for this moment, choreographing every detail with architect's precision. Now he would watch as his wife and brother's carefully constructed frame collapsed around them. His phone buzzed one final time. Agent Winters, teams in position. Give the word. Ben's response was brutally simple. Take them. Special Agent Diana Winters orchestrated the arrests with military precision. Strike teams moved simultaneously on multiple locations. The storage facility, Drew's office, the private airfield. No detail was left to chance. No possibility of escape overlooked. Target 1 in sight, the tactical commander reported. Drew Callahan accessing storage unit now. Winters watched through night vision optics as Drew unlocked the roll-up door. Hold positions. Let him start loading the documents. Inside the unit, Drew worked efficiently, unaware of the FBI team surrounding him. He'd just begun transferring files to a waiting courier van when the command came. All units, execute. The takedown was swift and professional. Drew barely had time to reach for his phone before he was face down on the concrete, tactical team securing the area. My brother put you up to this, he spat as Winters approached. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Actually, we do. Winters held up one of the documents he'd been loading. Original First Western plans, complete with your handwritten notes. And look, your fingerprints are already logged as evidence. Across town, at the private airfield, Lisa Montgomery personally led the team intercepting Samantha. The former CIA operative had planned this moment meticulously, anticipating every possible reaction. Going somewhere? Lisa asked as Samantha was led away from the chartered plane. You can't prove anything, Samantha replied coldly. Everything points to Ben. We made sure of it. Did you? Lisa held up her tablet, displaying security footage from the storage unit. Because right now, your husband is watching Drew being arrested with 20 years of evidence that proves otherwise. At Drew's office, another team was securing his files. The veteran PI had been thorough in documenting his crimes, perhaps too thorough. Every case connected to first Western witnesses, every falsified report, every payoff, all meticulously recorded. Sir, a tech reported to Winters. They were shredding documents when we breached. Managed to recover most of it. Shows premeditation, Winters noted. Add tampering with evidence to the charges. Her phone buzzed. Ben Callahan. Status? Drew's in custody. Team securing evidence from both locations. Samantha apprehended at the airfield. Winters paused. There's something else. We found a connection to another case. Murders linked to First Western's aftermath. Documentation? Extensive. Drew kept records of everything. Probably intended as insurance. But now it's evidence of conspiracy and multiple homicides. Ben finished. Make sure nothing disappears. In the FBI's command center, Dr. Miranda Reeves reviewed preliminary forensics. DNA matches confirmed on multiple items from the storage unit. Blood evidence from the guard murders. Trace elements from the bank vault. Even skin cells on the original plans. They got sloppy, Winters observed. 20 years of careful planning. Undone by overconfidence. Not overconfidence, Ben corrected through the speaker. Desperation. The genetic screening program forced their hand. They had to accelerate their timeline. At the private airfield, Lisa supervised as FBI techs searched Samantha's luggage. 3 sets of fake passports, she reported to Ben. Plus offshore account numbers, new identities, everything needed to disappear. And Eric? Safe. She was planning to take him. But we intercepted before she could make the attempt. Ben's voice carried absolute authority. Make sure every document is photographed, every item logged, every piece of evidence secured. I want this case airtight. Meanwhile, in the interrogation room, Drew maintained his composure until Winters played the recording from his office. His own voice, discussing Morrison's elimination, the witness deaths, the plan to frame Ben. You bugged my office, he accused. We bugged everything, Winters corrected. Your phone, your car, your meetings with Samantha. 20 years of arrogance. Thinking you were untouchable. Left quite a trail. Drew's mask finally cracked. I want a deal. There won't be any deals. Ben's voice came through the intercom, cold as Arctic wind. You tried to destroy everything I built. Used my children as pawns. Murdered witnesses. Conspired with my wife. Actions have consequences, brother. In another interrogation room, Samantha faced Lisa Montgomery. Ben doesn't understand, she insisted. We did it for the family. Family? Lisa's laugh held no humor. You mean the family you betrayed? The husband you plotted against? The children whose lives you were willing to destroy? She laid out photographs, Morrison's death certificate, witness autopsy reports, falsified documents spanning 2 decades. Everything you and Drew touched, every lie you told, every life you ruined. It's all here. Documented. Verified. Irrefutable. Samantha's composure finally shattered. I want my lawyer. Your lawyer can't help you, Lisa replied. But maybe you should worry more about what Ben's going to do with all this evidence. The night progressed as teams processed both scenes. In the storage unit, technicians documented hundreds of files, proof of corruption spanning decades. In Drew's office, computer forensics uncovered encrypted data linking him to multiple murders. Ben watched it all through secure feeds, his expression unchanging as 20 years of deception unraveled. He'd built his reputation on precision and control. Now he would use those same qualities to ensure justice was served. His phone buzzed. Agent Winters again. Prosecution teams ready. Given the evidence, they're talking multiple life sentences. Good. Ben's voice carried finality. Send me everything. I want to review each charge personally. In separate holding cells, Drew and Samantha waited, finally understanding the true cost of betrayal. They had spent decades building their conspiracy, never realizing they were actually constructing their own prison. Benjamin Callahan had given them exactly what they deserved, a reckoning paid in full measure, without mercy or hesitation. The federal courthouse buzzed with anticipation as Drew Callahan's trial began. Every seat was filled. Reporters crowded the gallery, all eyes fixed on the man who had orchestrated 2 decades of corruption and murder. Judge Robert Callahan sat on the bench, his presence a statement in itself. He had recused himself from cases involving his sons for 20 years, building an unimpeachable reputation for integrity. Now he would preside over his corrupted son's final reckoning. The evidence is overwhelming, the federal prosecutor declared in his opening statement. Murder, conspiracy, obstruction of justice, a pattern of criminal behavior spanning decades, all documented, all verified, all leading to this moment. Drew sat impassively as the prosecution laid out their case. Security footage from First Western. DNA evidence preserved for 20 years. Financial records showing patterns of payoffs. Witness statements connecting him to multiple deaths. In a separate courtroom, Samantha faced her own trial. Her testimony against Drew, a desperate attempt to save herself, revealed even darker aspects of the conspiracy. Drew's PI firm wasn't just investigating cases, she testified. It was a front for human trafficking. The witnesses who died, they discovered what was really happening, then watched both trials with cold satisfaction. His wife and brother had tried to destroy him. Instead, they had engineered their own destruction. Meanwhile, the twins found unexpected healing through Dr. Sullivan's support network. The science teacher had connected them with other children of criminal parents, creating a space for shared understanding. Your father chose to raise you, Dr. Sullivan reminded them during a group session. Biology didn't matter to him. Love did. But he's so cold now, Amy protested. Like he's turned off all emotion. He's protecting you, Adam countered. Making sure there's no legal way for Mom or Uncle Drew to ever hurt us again. Eric's healing took a different path. His detailed drawings, once evidence of subconscious trauma, became key exhibits in the prosecution's case. His counselor, Michael Brooks, helped him process through art therapy. You didn't do anything wrong, Brooks assured him during a session. Your drawings helped expose the truth. Eric's response was pure 12-year-old wisdom. Dad always says truth is the best foundation. That's why he builds his buildings so strong. The trial stretched over months, each day bringing new revelations. Drew's network of corruption extended deep into law enforcement. Samantha's involvement in witness eliminations proved more extensive than initially suspected. Ben attended every session, his presence a reminder of unshakable determination. The courthouse project continued under his direction, each design element a testament to justice and consequence. Lisa Montgomery, now officially Ben's head of corporate security, coordinated with Thomas Chun to protect the firm from lingering threats. Their combined skills transformed Callahan Architects into an impenetrable fortress against future betrayals. Your brother tried to destroy your legacy, Lisa observed during a security briefing. Instead, he made it stronger. Ben's response was characteristically precise. Pressure reveals structural integrity. In buildings and in people, the verdicts, when they came, were decisive. Drew faced multiple life sentences for murder, conspiracy, and corruption. Samantha received 40 years for her role in the crimes. No appeals, no mercy, no escape from consequences. Judge Robert Callahan delivered the sentencing with judicial gravity. You betrayed not just your family, but the very principles of justice you claim to serve. Your sentences reflect that betrayal. In the aftermath, Ben focused on rebuilding, not just his family, but the firm's reputation. The courthouse project became a symbol of transformation, its design incorporating subtle references to truth and consequence. Special Agent Winters retired with the satisfaction of closure, but not before establishing a new task force focused on genetic cold cases. Dr. Reeves joined as chief medical consultant, their success with First Western revolutionizing forensic investigation. The twins gradually found their footing in the new reality. Their father's unwavering support, combined with Dr. Sullivan's guidance, helped them understand that family transcends biology. Eric's artwork evolved, moving from dark representations of hidden truths to expressions of healing and growth. His trauma, processed through art therapy, became a source of strength. Ben declined suggestions to rename the firm despite its meteoric rise after the scandal. Callahan Architects would stand as a reminder that names carry both honor and responsibility. In the courthouse's foundation, he placed sealed records telling the true story, not just of betrayal, but of justice served through patience and determination. Future generations would understand that consequences find everyone, even family. Lisa Montgomery and Thomas Chun transformed the firm's security, their experience protecting against both external threats and internal betrayals. Every system, every protocol reflected lessons learned at terrible cost. The story ended as it began, with truth emerging from deception, justice rising from corruption, strength forged in betrayal's fire. Benjamin Callahan had built his empire on precision and control. When that empire was threatened, he responded with architect's calculation and executioner's finality. His legacy would endure, not just in buildings of steel and stone, but in the understanding that betrayal carried consequences, justice demanded patience, and true strength lay in unwavering determination. The courthouse rose above Denver's skyline, its architecture a testament to both justice and consequence. Inside, a subtle memorial honored First Western's victims, not with grand gestures, but with precise design elements that Ben had personally overseen. The building serves its purpose, he explained to Lisa during the final inspection. Both the obvious one and the deeper message, that justice finds everyone eventually, Lisa suggested. That appearances deceive, but truth endures. Ben studied the clean lines and uncompromising angles. Every beam, every support, every foundation stone, all exactly what they appear to be. No hidden weaknesses, no concealed flaws. Thomas Chun, now integrated into the security team, appreciated the symbolism. Unlike your brother's carefully constructed lies. Exactly. Ben's satisfaction carried no warmth, only completion. Drew built his life on deception. I build with absolutes. The firm's reputation soared in the aftermath of the scandal. Clients appreciated the message. Callahan Architects stood for integrity, backed by uncompromising security and ruthless efficiency. Ben's parents watched their grandchildren heal, their own 2 decades of patient evidence gathering finally serving its purpose. Judge Robert Callahan's return from retirement to sentence Drew became a symbol of justice's reach. You did what was necessary, Marion told her son after the sentencing. What we prepared for all those years. Ben's response embodied his entire approach. Justice without mercy for those who betray trust. It's the only language they understand. The sealed records in the courthouse foundation would tell future generations the complete story. Not just of betrayal and justice, but of a man who turned conspiracy's weapons against its architects. Benjamin Callahan had built his empire through strategic brilliance and unwavering purpose. When that empire was threatened, he responded not with emotion, but with architect's precision and executioner's finality. His legacy would remind everyone that every action carried consequences, every betrayal demanded payment, and true strength lay not in deception, but in the ruthless application of truth. Epilogue: a decade of consequences. The maximum security wing of Colorado State Penitentiary held no luxury for its long-term residents. Drew Callahan's cell, identical to every other, contained nothing to reflect his former status. 10 years of imprisonment had stripped away all pretense, leaving only the hollow shell of a man who'd orchestrated his own destruction. Visitor for Callahan, the guard announced. Drew looked up, expecting his court-appointed lawyer. Instead, Benjamin Callahan stood before the reinforced glass, impeccable in his tailored suit, studying his brother with the detached interest of a scientist observing a specimen. "Hello, Drew." Ben's voice carried no emotion through the intercom. "Enjoying the consequences of your choices?" Drew's once confident demeanor had crumbled under a decade of confinement. "Come to gloat, brother." "No. I came to inform you that your latest appeal has been denied." Judge Morrison, no relation to your old friend Jackknife, was quite thorough in his review. Ben placed a document against the glass. "Your conspiracy with Samantha, the murders, the human trafficking network, all confirmed again. You'll die in here, Drew. Exactly as you deserve. And Samantha? Still serving her 40 years at Denver Women's. Though I hear she's not enjoying the company of other inmates who despise child endangerment." Ben's smile held Arctic frost. Apparently, attempting to kidnap Eric earned her some special attention. The past decade had transformed Eric Callahan from a traumatized 12-year-old into a promising young architect. His artistic talents, once expressing subconscious awareness of family betrayal, now designed award-winning buildings for his father's firm. Eric's graduation from MIT is next month, Ben continued, knowing each word struck like a blade. He's already revolutionizing our sustainable design division. The twins are managing international operations. Amy in London, Adam in Singapore. Family empires stronger than ever. Drew's hands trembled slightly. The children were innocent. Yes, which makes your willingness to destroy their lives even more unforgivable. Ben straightened his tie with meticulous precision. But they've thrived despite your betrayal. The Callahan name means something different now. Strength through adversity, justice through patience. Across town, in the federal courthouse Ben had designed, Lisa Montgomery conducted her monthly security audit. The building had become a symbol of architectural brilliance and uncompromising integrity, its design incorporating subtle reminders of justice's reach. The memorial wall is particularly effective, Thomas Chin noted, accompanying her inspection. Their combined security protocols had made Callahan Architects legendary for both physical and digital protection. Hidden in plain sight, just like the evidence was, the wall in question displayed the names of First Western's murder guards, alongside others who died protecting truth. Eleanor Bishop's name held a prominent position. Her death had helped expose the conspiracy's true scope. In her private practice, Dr. Rachel Sullivan had transformed her support network for children of criminal parents into a nationally recognized program. The twins' experience helped countless others navigate similar traumas. Your father's strength became your strength, she often told new participants. The Callahan twins proved that heritage isn't destiny. Amy and Adam had indeed proven that. Amy's London office specialized in historic preservation, transforming ancient buildings while honoring their integrity. Adam's Singapore operations pioneered sustainable megastructures, each design incorporating their father's principles of uncompromising quality. Special Agent Diana Winters, though retired, still consulted with the FBI's Genetic Evidence Task Force. Her work with Dr. Miranda Reeves had revolutionized cold case investigation, their success with First Western becoming a template for similar prosecutions. The DNA never lies, Winters told each new class of agents. But it's patience and precision that build an unshakable case. At Denver Women's Correctional Facility, Samantha Callahan's isolation unit offered ample time for reflection. Her testimony against Drew, intended to save herself, had only revealed deeper crimes. The human trafficking network, operated through his PI firm, led to additional charges against both of them. Her last visitor had been Ben, 5 years ago, bringing divorce papers and documentation of her complete disinheritance. The twins send their regards, he'd said, his voice carrying boardroom authority. They've legally changed their birth certificates to list unknown rather than maintain any connection to you. Judge Robert Callahan, though long retired, still received requests to speak about judicial integrity. His handling of Drew's case became required study in law schools, demonstrating how justice transcended family ties. Marian Callahan channeled her prosecutorial expertise into training a new generation of attorneys, using the First Western case to illustrate the importance of detailed documentation and patient investigation. The sealed records in the courthouse foundation remained untouched, waiting for future generations. Ben had ensured their preservation, hiring archival experts to protect the documents that proved truth's eventual triumph over deception. Back in the prison visiting room, Ben concluded his update with architect's precision. The genetic screening program that exposed your crimes? Now standard procedure for all federal projects. Dr. Reeves heads a global initiative, using DNA analysis to solve decades-old cases. You've won, Drew conceded, age and confinement evident in his voice. Destroyed everything we built? No. Ben's correction carried absolute certainty. You destroyed yourselves. I merely ensured you face the consequences. Actions have prices, brother. You and Samantha chose betrayal, murder, corruption. The cost was everything: freedom, family, future. He stood, straightening his cuffs with characteristic attention to detail. The courthouse stands as your legacy too, Drew. Every beam, every stone, every design element showing that deception ultimately fails. Truth endures. Justice prevails. Consequences find everyone. Rising from her prison bunk, Samantha watched through barred windows as construction crews worked on a new wing. The contrast between her confinement and Ben's continued success burned like acid. Her attempts to contact the children, all legally adults now, met only silence. Even her former society friends had disowned her, the human trafficking revelations making her toxic. The Callahan empire continued growing, its reputation for integrity attracting international clients. Ben's ruthless efficiency, once focused on exposing the conspiracy, now drove global expansion. Each new project incorporated elements from the courthouse design, subtle reminders that truth shaped stronger foundations than lies. Lisa Montgomery and Thomas Chun had transformed corporate security, their protocols studied by firms worldwide. Their team included talented analysts like Raymond Torres, whose surveillance expertise had helped expose the original affair. Eric's architectural innovations earned international recognition, his designs blending artistic vision with his father's uncompromising standards. The trauma of his childhood, processed through art therapy with Michael Brooks, transformed into creative strength. The twins leveraged their experience into leadership roles, their understanding of betrayal's cost, making them formidable executives. Amy's restoration projects and Adam's sustainable designs proved the Callahan name represented excellence and integrity. Special Agent Winter's task force solved dozens of cold cases using genetic evidence, each success honoring First Western's victims. Dr. Reeves' genetic screening protocols became international standards, preventing criminals from hiding behind respectability. Ben himself remained unchanged, precise, controlled, ruthlessly efficient. His empire grew not through deception, but through uncompromising quality and strategic brilliance. The betrayal that might have destroyed another man had only proven his strength. The courthouse stood as silent witness, its design declaring that justice found everyone eventually. In its foundation, the sealed records waited to teach future generations that truth emerged stronger through adversity, and consequences came to everyone who chose betrayal's path. Drew and Samantha's separate cells offered decades to contemplate their choices. Their attempt to destroy Ben had instead destroyed themselves, their corruption exposed, their freedom forfeit, their legacy one of failure and consequences. Benjamin Callahan had built his life on precision and control. When betrayal threatened that life, he responded not with emotion, but with architect's calculation and executioner's finality. His triumph lay not in revenge, but in ensuring justice, cold, precise, and absolute. The Callahan name endured, representing not the corruption Drew and Samantha had hidden, but the integrity Ben had upheld. Each new building, each expanded office, each innovative design declared that truth built stronger foundations than lies, and consequences found everyone who chose betrayal's path. And there you have it. Another story comes to an end. What did you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this story, consider joining our community by subscribing. It means the world to us. For more stories like this one, check out the recommended videos on screen, and I'll see you there.